Hi, this is Scott and Lance with New American Funding, and we thank you for tuning into this video to learn a little bit more about our NAF Cash program.
Yes, with this video, we're going to go over some bullet point steps on our all cash buyer program. After reviewing this video, you're going to have a really good idea on when it's time to buy, you know exactly what you need to do.
Nowhere is it more relevant when trying to buy a home today. Did you know in a typical market, 27% of home sales go to cash buyers? And statistically, the seller will often accept less money when dealing with a cash buyer, up to 12% less on average. That's tens of thousands of dollars. Wall Street is buying hundreds of thousands of homes and turning them into rentals. If you're out there making offer after offer and not being chosen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So NAF Cash will allow you to use our cash when making your offer. And that moves you right to the front of the line. What's there to think about? Call us today.
Okay, let's talk about the steps of NAF Cash. So step number one is to get your loan application and get you submitted to underwriting. We fully underwrite the file up front so you have 100% certainty of approval. Now, we're looking for a couple things here on the NAF Cash program. We're looking for a 620 or better credit score. We're looking for a 1.5% earnest money deposit if it's a VA loan, or a 5% earnest money deposit if it's a conventional loan. Now, this is a traditional earnest money deposit that you get back whenever we perform the buyback, which you'll learn about a little bit later. We're also looking for, if you have a property you're vacating, we're looking for a 30% net equity position in that property. So regarding the net equity, if you don't have 30% net equity in your vacating property, that's not an end-all be-all. We can stack assets to prove the 30%. So basically, let's say you only have 15% net equity in your property, but you have stocks, bonds, a 401k, checking, savings that make up that difference. We can stack those just to prove you've got a 30% asset position. You don't have to liquidate the assets. We just have to prove that you have access to them. If you do not have a property that you're vacating, then there's no net equity requirements. Now, whenever we submit you for the NAF Cash pre-approval, we also get your approval taken care of for your final loan. There's no fee for this, and you basically now have two options when you identify a property. You can make a normal contingent predicated offer, business as usual, or you can use NAF Cash to make a non-contingent, non-predicated, all cash offer. You have the best of both worlds when you're approved with NAF Cash.
So now that you've been fully underwritten and approved and you have enough funds in your checking or savings to cover your deposit, you're now ready to submit an offer. Your realtor and you as the borrower will be assigned a transaction coordinator. That transaction coordinator is your liaison when you're ready to put an offer in. Your realtor will contact our transaction coordinator. She will acknowledge the property that you're wanting to put an offer in, what that offer price is that y'all are looking for, and then our transaction coordinator will send over your approval letter and proof of funds to show that we've got enough cash in there to pay cash for your home.
All right, now we enter phase three, the cash transaction. The best part about this is we can close as quickly as 12 days. We don't have to close in 12 days. We can close further out, but it also gives you an added benefit of this program that we can do a quick close. At this closing, we pay all closing costs and insurance on the property. The only upfront fee you have is for a property inspection. We're going to ask you to give us a copy of the property inspection just so we can make sure there's nothing detrimental with the property that would deter you from buying it. After we do the cash closing, we move to phase four, the move-in.
Okay, so NAF Cash has just paid all cash for the home of your dreams, and you can move right in, essentially becoming our tenant until you execute the buyback, which is when we sell the house back to you. So during the rental phase, you'll notice with the chart behind me, rent is based off the purchase price. The monthly rent is whatever the purchase price is, that's your monthly rent. The first 60 days rent is deferred. It does accrue daily. You're not actually paying it during the deferment period. It's accruing daily. It accrues up until when we execute selling the house back to you. Now, if you've only rented from us, say for 21 days, we're only going to send you an invoice for 21 days of rent when we execute the buyback. If you haven't executed the buyback by your 60th day, on the 61st day, we are going to ask that you reimburse us for the first 60 days of rent, and you can pay by credit card, check, wire, whatever is the most convenient for you. And then each month forward after that 60th day, rent does increase each month 10%, and rent is due at the end of each month. At that point moving forward, again, until you do the buyback transaction.
Okay, so now we're entering phase 5. That's the buyback. That's where NAF Cash sells the home back to you. At this point, you've already got your vacated house either under contract or closed. You have your money in hand, and then we set up a closing. It's just like any other normal purchase closing. Yeah, you will have closing costs, but where we're going to sell the house back to you. Now, remember, going back, when we paid all cash for this house, we covered the closing costs and we covered the insurance. So we do charge a fee for this program. If you'll see behind me, you can see there's a transaction fee associated with the NAF Cash program. This fee varies from state to state depending on the closing costs for that state. But the good news is we can close NAF Cash in any state. So for this example, let's use the state of Louisiana. Louisiana has a 1.5% transaction fee. So for example, let's say the cash price, we'll make it simple. The cash price was $100,000. Well, we're going to charge you a 1.5% fee to use NAF Cash. So when we sell the home back to you, we're going to incorporate this 1.5% fee on top of the $100,000. So when we sell the home back to you, the purchase price is going to be $101,500. All right, so Scott, so we just went through the process of the NAF Cash transaction. Now let's talk about some of the benefits we're seeing by utilizing NAF Cash.
Yeah, so one of the hugest benefits is with NAF Cash, you no longer have to go and list your home, get it under contract, and then hope within the next 30, 45 days, you can go find the home that you really want. With NAF Cash, you get approved up front, you go find the house of your dreams, put an all cash offer in. Once we pay cash for the home, then you have 7 days at that point to have your house that you vacated listed for sale.
Well, yeah, and I think that 7-day period is huge, Scott, because just imagine, if you've been through this process conventionally before, it's a pain to list your house. Then you have to schedule showings, gather the cats, gather the dogs, gather the kids, vacate the house, clean it, show your house. With this program, you get to identify your dream house, you get to move in, then you get to list your house.
Correct. And look, just to add, you don't have to do it that way. If your house is already listed, that's fine. But the biggest point of this conversation, I think, is, in a normal real estate environment, it's unfortunate that a lot of times, and you've probably been in this situation before if you sold to buy, is you might find a house you love, and then by the time you get your house under contract, that house that you loved is no longer there. So whether you have your house listed already or not, with NAF Cash, you don't technically have to even list your home until within 7 days after we've paid cash for the home of your dreams.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you another great factor, kind of scenario we're seeing playing out time after time is a homeowner, they kind of want a new house, but they're concerned about listing their house because that's the traditional way this process went. You have to sell before you buy. They're a little apprehensive about listing their house because if they get a contract on it, now they've got 30, 45 days to go find a house that's on the market. With this program, if you're out there and you're wanting to purchase your dream house, you get pre-approved with NAF Cash, you monitor the inventory, and when that perfect house hits the market, you make a cash offer. You move in. Then you get to list your house for sale. It's a game changer.
It's an absolute game changer. Y'all, this program is a game changer to the real estate market. Give Lance or I a call, and let's talk NAF Cash, and let's win you that dream home.